Mega Show time. You love to see it. The whole gang has assembled. Roddy Jones, Wayne Cook, Michael Felder. I'm Stephen Hartzell. You knew that. You're not here for my takes. Although, shout out to JMU. Let's go, baby. We're in the playoff. We're going to Eugene. We're going to shock the world. I'm fired.
Hey,
Thank you.
How about
Thank
this?
you.
How about this?
Thank you.
James Madison, Stephen's alma mater, goes to the playoff before yours, Wayne, mine, or Felder's. And we're in real conferences. This is
you were at least close. You were at least close, Roddy.
We
you just couldn't finish it off.
No. Yeah, November started, and the Jackets just were like, nah, ridiculous. We're good. We're good. Boys, it is great to see you. It is great to be with you. We're going to talk ball for the next hour and change. Everybody's kids are home from school because it's sub 30 degrees in the southeast. We're doing the best we can. Wayne is actually going up to UCLA later today for an introductory press conference with one Bob Chesney. So as you know, it's a small world, right? My alma mater makes the playoff. You steal You steal our coach.
Thank you. By the way,
the world just keeps spinning around and around. So here's the deal. I just want to set the table, Wayne. I know you're jacked up. It's 5 a.m.
I was just gonna say there's hope. That's the beautiful thing about this world is when you get that coach that gives you hope. It's what makes this sport so maddening, Roddy. We just talked about Georgia Tech. You had hope. It was there.
Some people did.
It was in your grasp. It was in your grasp, and then when it slips away. But still, that's more fun than not having any hope, correct?
It's true. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We were literally one win away from being in the conference championship game at that point, and you have a home game at night, and so at that point, yes, you do start to hope a little bit. You start to dream a little bit, which is where you're most dangerous. It's where you're most vulnerable, and we got crushed.
That's well said.
Like always.
Yeah, that's well put. So here's what we're going to try to do today. College football playoff games are in 10 days. We got on-campus first-round action that starts Friday, December 19th, and there's 3 games on the 20th. This doesn't need to be a X's and O's breakdown of what we're going to get with Alabama, Oklahoma, the rematch, Tulane, Ole Miss, the rematch, Miami A&M, JMU, Oregon. We'll get to that. There will be time for all of that. I did give Felder homework. I asked him to come up with the Felder 5 so we can talk about some actual weekend takeaways, observations from conference championship games. You know my stance on this. The games are played on Saturday. Then the selection show comes, 12 hours later. Nobody talks about what actually happens in the Big Ten or SEC or ACC championship games. So we will get there, Felder. We're going to talk some football. But I'm going to start with you, Roddy. I'm going to start with you, and here's why. You were in studio for the Worldwide Leader on Sunday. You were at the podium. You were at the desk. I don't know how many hours you guys were going because, frankly, I kind of – okay. Well, I hopped in. I hopped out. I want you to walk me through what was going on in your studio in your world when those 12 teams get announced and you realize, Alabama's at 9. Here we go. Where is Notre Dame going to be? And, oh, yeah, by the way, they're not going to go. Like, just walk me through what that was like in real time because then you had to spend the next couple of hours digesting it and talking about it on live TV.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool story this year because we had the 3 to 5 show. So, like, Greg and Booger and Joey, and then they had Saban and Coach Saban and Kirk on for the noon to 3 shows. The last 2 guys I mentioned did like noon to 12:30 or 1 o'clock, like they were done. So I was actually in the building while that show was going on, while that show started at noon, and I was sitting there with the guys that I did the show with later on. I was sitting there with Brock Osweiler and Matt Barry and our producers and some members of like ESPN leadership were there with us, and Sam Acho's there, and we're all watching this thing together. There's one person in our group that knows. And he's the producer of our show who got sent the bracket around, like he got sent the full bracket around when they hit like 8. So he knew what the answer was to the end, but he was playing it close to the vest. So we're all basically like taking wagers, like, hey, who thinks this is going to happen? Who thinks that's going to happen? And there was an audible gasp when Miami was revealed, but when Alabama was revealed, people were like, oh, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then there was this really quick debate on, well, they didn't drop Alabama. Are they going to drop BYU? Because if they don't drop BYU, that's the off-ramp. That's the off-ramp from not having Miami in the playoff because that buffer would have still been there. And then when Miami was released, it was kind of a gasp. And, just to peek behind the curtain a little bit more, like I saw probably 2 or 3 members of like college football leadership at ESPN, which I feel like is kind of seen as this like nefarious group that's, got the puppet strings behind everything. And let me tell you, they had no clue. Like they're all peeking into the control room because here's how it works. Like the CFP puts it together and they send it to this one guy named Zach. And Zach is the graphics operator who's in charge of the bracket. And so Zach and the person that he works with are the only 2 people that know at the company to start. And then usually leadership, producer of the show, the producer of game day, the person that heads up college football, the person that heads up like all college sports, like those people start peeking their heads in. And when they're walking out with like jaws on the floor, like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So for anybody who thinks like the leadership at ESPN is puppeting this thing, I saw the reaction of one of the highest people at ESPN walking out of the control room when he found out. So he didn't know. So I just want to let people know that, hey, we find out kind of like everybody else does.
People need a villain. Come on, don't talk people down off the ledge. Don't tell people the truth. People, we need that. I'm more curious when you're up at the board. Did you have any comments about why are you putting me up here with Brock Osweiler?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I said
he's 6'15". I mean, that dude's huge.
The largest height disparity for analysts in ESPN history. And then I was told, we have some basketball analysts that work together. Joel Berry and Carlos Boozer. I go, how tall is Booz? They're like 6'9". I go, how tall is Joel? 6 foot. Okay, that's the difference here too.
Hey, Roddy,
maybe more.
Your intellect made it seem like it wasn't even there. By the end of the segment, I was like, man, Roddy looks just as tall as Brock. It was a fantastic segment, by the way. Is that all live, or do you is anything pre-taped?
That was.
I was going to say because it was flawless, and I was impressed. I was like, dang, that's a really good job because you got to practice working the board and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we have a little practice run, and then the reason we tape it is because we go like they have a little full screen graphic with teams, and then we're back at the desk. So they're just like, yeah, let's not do all the shuffling. We taped that like 10 minutes before.
I would love to ask all of you this question because I was thinking about it. Would it have been easier if because it almost felt like even some of the Alabama people, because they've been so good for so long, almost had accepted the fact that maybe this wasn't their year. And almost felt like that would have been the easier choice, even if you're going to put Miami and Notre Dame in. And I know I don't think enough people are arguing about BYU, but because I feel like they had a great resume and they only lost to one team, and that one team's really good. But it almost felt like it would have been easier if they would have left Alabama out and put Notre Dame and Miami in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would have been. Depends on what easier means, right? That's my thought process. Is it easier to leave Alabama out? Easier for who? Probably not easier for.
Easier might not have been the right word. It just felt like there would have been.
It would have felt better.
Controversy.
Would have felt better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it would have felt better too if they put Notre Dame instead of Miami. Like it's even though obviously
you could have done that too.
Right. So
hold on. Why Felder? Just because of flipping him at the last minute?
Yeah, it's just better television. At the end of the day, right?
I think what they did was the ultimate of drama.
Oh gosh, yes, it created everything, right?
Sure, for the day, but in terms of we want to have eyes on these on-campus games, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, sure, for sure. For
that's what I'm talking about.
Notre Dame's
that's been the drum that I've been banging for a long time. So I think that, but so they went against in Roddy, to your point, the committee, the powers that be did go against what would probably be in their better interest, which is
100%.
having Notre Dame in, which I do think they deserve some credit for that, right?
Yeah, but the path with which we got there, right? And that's
the
other part of this discussion is like, did the committee, did they mess up? Did they mess up from the jump with ranking Notre Dame too high when these things first came out, and then realizing, here comes Miami, and what do we do once the team in between Notre Dame and Miami, which was BYU, loses, 34-7? Now we can't avoid that these two teams are smacked right up against each other, right? And that's Unfortunately,
we have to deal with the fact too that they punished. It felt like the conference championships were like they were just confusing on how they were evaluated.
Yeah.
Right, because one team loses and it's a punishment, and another team loses and like we're going to kind of ignore that because it's the SEC championship game, and so like to me that, and I honestly will tell you guys, and I don't know if you feel this way either. I don't think that they could have done it with, and I'll go back and I thought about this. Remember the narrative, and we talked about this before when there's a 14 playoff. Why expand? Because there's barely 4 teams that can win it all.
Right.
Did you notice how many people acted like Notre Dame or Texas or these teams that were left out? If they got in, they could win it all. It's like the narrative always keeps changing and shifting, and then they had no choice but to leave out a worthy team in this year's scenario. They had no choice.
I do feel like this is a year, and maybe it's a special year, maybe it's a one-off, but I do feel like this is a year where Notre Dame could have won it all. Like, I do think that team could have. I'm not so sure about Texas,
10 in a row.
But I do think Texas, Vandy, and Utah, and maybe BYU. You'd have to convince me a little more with BYU, but I think Texas, Vandy, and Utah all could have won at least a game in the playoff. I don't know that I felt that in the past, and I think it's just a sign of the changing landscape. Because last year, I mean, Ohio State's the 8th seed, and they win the national championship. Notre Dame was the 7th seed,
right?
And they make it to the national championship. So while I think the statement of parity being across college football is overstated, like I think we overhyped that because less group of 5 teams beat Power 4 teams than ever before this year. You had I mean, how many teams do we have end up 10-2? So I don't think it's parity throughout, and maybe that'll change. But this year it was about like the upper class to upper middle class was very strong, and then there was a pretty stark divide, a pretty bright line between them and the rest of everybody else. That's how you end up with so many 10-2 teams, because everybody is playing enough of the druthers of the bottoms of the conferences to be able to end up 10-2. But to your point, Stephen, like the way the committee did this was the wrong way. They messed up from the beginning, and I think it shows you a couple things. One, like the committee members started watching the games or really paying attention a couple weeks before they ranked the teams. Miami had lost 2 of 3 going into the first rankings. That's why they're at 18, because they didn't really pay attention to how good Miami was against Notre Dame and against FSU and against the teams that they beat leading up to that. They saw Louisville on a Friday night. They saw SMU, on a Saturday afternoon. And they're like, oh, that team's not very good. They're overrated. So let's rank them 18th. Whereas, like, if you consider the full body of work at that time, they're probably closer to 15, maybe even higher. And the reason that we are having all this consternation is because the committee, I think, was looking for an off ramp, but it should have never been a Miami Notre Dame conversation. To me, it's a Notre Dame Alabama conversation, because Miami was both one of the 2 best of that group and one of the 2 most deserving of that group, whereas Notre Dame and Alabama didn't fit in one of those categories. So, like, I feel like, I would have been happier if it had been Miami and Notre Dame, although protecting the SEC championship game loser, I didn't ever think they were not going to do that.
I mean, I can say this as somebody who is literally like leaving Atlanta on Sunday morning to drive home. The honest Alabama fans did not think their name was going to get called on Sunday. Yeah. I mean, there are a ton of delusional Alabama football fans out there, but the ones that I interacted with in Atlanta around the program, the ones that called the game, the ones that are like the voices and the mouthpieces of Alabama football, they woke up on Sunday morning and they were like, we're cooked. I mean, because what is the difference between 34-7 and 28-7? Like that, those were your blowouts on Saturday in the Big 12 and SEC championship games, respectively. I know Alabama was banged up, but like, come on, like, they didn't have it. They didn't look good at any point in that game. So it's nice to see Ryan Williams make an appearance, though. Good for him. He had been on the back of a milk carton for the last couple of weeks. So
I mean,
it's nice
talk
to see him show.
Talk about guys stealing money. Ryan Williams stealing money.
Well, and Ty Simpson kind of fell off a ledge a little bit too. I mean, that was a tough situation when you got people in your face all day, but he started throwing off his back foot a lot.
So Wayne, I was talking to Jordan Rogers, and he was talking about what was exposed, what Oklahoma exposed against Alabama, and everybody's repeated that. Where basically, you can predict where Ty Simpson is going to send the protection and then send pressure from the other side. Oklahoma did it masterfully, and everybody has done it since. And when he is pressured, he is not good at football. It just leaves him, man.
It's a bummer too, because he's got the fundamentals, and when you watch him, and that's the problem with. I was talking about that because if you think about it, Sayan and Mendoza weren't spectacular in that game, but when you go up against elite defenses, that's why I always tell people, I go, what do you expect? I go, when you get into the playoffs, I don't care if it's the NFL or college, you're going to play against really good defenses, and they're going to bring it. You're going to see in Oklahoma try throwing against the secondary of Ohio State. Try dealing with wherever Caleb Downs is all day. Like find him, know where he's at. And quarterbacks look worse. So when you play in a game like that, your job is to hang in there, stay fundamentally sound, make enough plays, which felt like Fernando made just enough plays. And that game, Ty Simpson, it seemed like, as you pointed out, when they play a really good defense and they bring pressure, he didn't have the answers. And it's like, and you know that Alabama has enough talent to where they should be able to have the answers. So am I writing him off? No. Can he
needs
grow?
another year, though.
He totally does. I agree. And so, but you're going to see that when these teams play really good defenses, quarterback play gets worse. Even the greatest of the greatest of the greatest, they struggle against elite defenses. That's why that stuff matters.
Yeah. Look, Indiana's our number one team. Their defense is absolutely legit.
Dude, so good.
Georgia clearly took belt to ass, as they say. They just whooped up on them. I think Ty Simpson, with respect to him, he reminds me of a bit more mobile, not as strong with his arm, but he reminds me a little bit of Ryan Mallett, where when the pocket gets dirty, things start to fall apart. Those mechanics, the ability to push the ball down the field, all those things fall apart. The accuracy disappears. And Mallett's the guy that I think about because he was so good when he was clean at Arkansas. But all of a sudden, especially with I see with Simpson, and I see that's the reason I brought up Mallett, is guys around his feet. Guys on the ground bother him probably more than guys like behind him. I think guys around his feet really bother them. And when you're a quarterback, can you talk people through that? Where, what does that do to you? Like, there's some quarterbacks that can still get it done, right? When there's guys that are diving at them, and then there's other guys that is like their kryptonite. It's a feel thing. If you watch quarterback play enough, some guys don't even notice that stuff. They slide and move in the pocket in a way that it's instinctual. And I don't know. Sometimes when you start noticing that guys don't have that, you worry about their future. Because you can have all the fundamentals and you can have all that, but if you don't have that ability to move and slide in the pocket, I don't care if you're a pure drop back guy or if you're really, really mobile. Right. Like if I'm watching a guy like Marcel Reed and I'm watching him move forward in the pocket the way he can at times, I'm like, that's good stuff, because now he puts so much pressure on everybody, because and his eyes are still up. We saw last night with Justin Herbert. Well, absolutely. It's a great point. As a quarterback that's growing, right? Like he's getting better and better and better. So you're right. So when it gets muddy, as you put it, when the pocket gets crazy and there's people around you, the good ones don't really see it. They feel it. And they're always focused downfield. And the other thing that's a problem, and I see this with Simpson, I see this with other quarterbacks, is they just lock in on guys too much. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it, you had a pre-snap read, but man, that means you're looking somewhere else before you throw to your pre-snap read. And I don't see enough of that from guys anymore. But no, I'm with you on that. Because it's funny, because I was enamored with Simpson at the beginning, the whole first half of the year. Mm-hmm. I was like, this guy is it. Like, he's going to do great. And then he's, like, as you pointed out, when things got serious, he didn't look nearly as good, which is a problem.
Do we think Alabama's going to win a game in the playoff? Because we get the rematch against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's offense is putrid. You talk about teams that probably shouldn't be in the playoff. Like, Oklahoma deserves it, but golly, I don't think they're one of the 10 best teams in the country. Like, do we think Alabama can win that game?
Yeah.
Well, what did you guys think about Mateer? Did we completely overhype him, or is the injury that big of a problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
We overhyped him.
Overhyped. Okay.
No. I 100% agree. That's why I was asking. I was like, wow, everybody got enamored with look, he could throw sidearm. I was like, okay, great. Well, what else?
And like everyone was super pumped
And he had
about
a
the
strong
running
arm, I
ability.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and people were super pumped about the running ability, but like I did the game that they played LSU, and let me tell you, the LSU coaches were not at all concerned about him running. They're like, yeah, I mean, he'll run and extend some third and shorts. They were like on 3rd and 7, we can run him down as long as he doesn't run straight ahead. Like if he just not going straight up the middle, like we can run him down. And we were like, are you going to spy him? They're like, yeah, maybe. But they were talking about spying him with like defensive tackles and ends, like they're not even using Harold Perkins because they were that unconcerned about him out of the pocket. They're like, yeah, we got 2 guys up front that can run him down. I do think he was overhyped a little bit because his throwing ability just isn't there. He's got a strong arm, but his throwing ability just isn't there.
Yeah.
Well, I do think I think he came back way too early.
Yeah, for sure.
Injury. Like that was like that.
But all the interceptions that he started throwing after, it's really just because people started catching him. Like that stuff is on tape before.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're 100% correct. Like guys were batting balls, guys were dropping balls, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can catch these. They count for us. Let's go and do it. I think overhyped. I think people were excited that Oklahoma had a pulse. And I think that helped feed into it. And I do think Alabama, I think they're going to win that football game.
I think so too, which is a shame because that team stinks right now.
They are a road favorite. I mean, we'll get to the odds and all that stuff, but yeah, they are a road favorite, 1.5 point favorite at Oklahoma.
One more thing on Oklahoma. I also feel like the offensive coordinator they hired and the quarterback that they brought in don't match the style that Brent Venables wants his team to play.
Yeah.
Correct. I think at some point Brent Venables was like, yo, this defense is legit. Our special teams are really good. We got the best kicker in the country. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this
Michigan
up.
Did when they won. Play like Penn State did.
1,000%. Because I just need you guys to get me to 10. You don't need special teams. The special teams and defense will get us to 17, and that'll be enough.
Yeah.
Well, and I would argue that, and I think if I had to, I would probably pick Alabama too. But that Oklahoma defense is pretty nasty.
It's legit. And they played most of the last month of the season without our Mason Thomas.
Yeah, if they can get a turnover or two, I don't think that game's going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. I think it'll come down to the end.
And that place will be on fire.
First-round games.
Yeah. Well, and like Hartzell mentioned earlier, you got an elite weapon. But if you use Ryan Williams correctly and he shows up and can play, I mean, that changes things too.
Yeah, Bama needs to get healthy, not just on the offensive side of the football. They had no running backs. Defensively, they were banged up too. Justin Jefferson left that game against Georgia. Their top cornerback got knocked out as well. So they got some work to do. Felder, can I tee you up to talk a little ACC? Because you put this on the Felder 5.
Listen, tee me up, but it's a joke. I mean, they literally work to walk out to sea with rocks in their pockets because of their tie-breaking strategy, and they got bailed out by Miami. That's all it is, right?
Couldn't I make the, and I will light this fuse and then get away, okay? But couldn't I also say, had Virginia handled their business, then these chips would have fallen in a very different order, right? As far as Miami not being included, because Virginia's the automatic seeded conference champion, and then so long JMU. Like that opens up an at-large spot had Virginia taken care of business, but Roddy, obviously they did not because of Duke and them boys.
Yeah, it doesn't open up an at-large spot. It just kicks JMU out.
Right.
You could play this thing out the exact same. Now, I think there's a conspiracy theory question of if Virginia's in, do they let Notre Dame in? Just because the ACC would have its participant.
Right.
That I think is a fair question. I don't know the answer to it, but it's a fair question. The things that are fair and unfair about how the ACC is being characterized right now, at least in my opinion, the fair criticism is the league in general. How does Duke Duke even in the running for the ACC championship game?
Right.
That is a fair criticism because you have 17 teams and 8 conference games. There's not enough crossover. So you end up with 5 teams with 2 losses. You had 2 teams crumble down the stretch. Georgia Tech, win and you're in, lost. SMU, win and you're in, lost. Like, that's part of it. You had 2 teams crumble. The unfair criticism, I think, is of the tiebreakers because the tiebreaker is the same as every other power conference tiebreakers. They're all the same. The thing is, the ACC just got caught with its pants down. The American is the only conference that foresaw this. I mean, the Mountain West had to wait until Sunday midday to tell you who was playing in their championship game because they had to get all the rankings in and like the computer rankings of who was going to be ranked highest. So the ACC's tiebreakers are not unique. They just were stressed in a way that the other conferences weren't. Ultimately, the ACC ended up in a good place, but boy, was it a circuitous route to get there.
But it was great, though. The 2 late games, I was laughing because everybody was watching Ohio State, that game in Indiana. But, man, I couldn't get – because the stress was on that. That Duke-Virginia game mattered so – I mean, think about Virginia.
So much more.
What they've
way
been.
More implications
what has Virginia been? And they had this opportunity right in front of them, couldn't finish it off. And here's Duke that nobody thinks even belongs there. And congrats to you, Duke.
Yeah.
Congrats to you, Coach Diaz. Congrats to you for getting an ACC championship by winning that game. I mean, again, we act like sometimes these 8-4 teams aren't any good, but when everything works,
they were
7-5. You're right. They're 7-5. I had to. Yeah, that's really bad. But they could still. I mean, when I watched the game, they looked every bit as good as Virginia all the way through. Virginia had to climb back into that thing, take it to overtime. And Duke found a way, and then that's when everything went a little bit chaos, because I agree with you. I think they probably do put Miami and Notre Dame in. JMU, and that's the argument. I hate saying this, Stephen, but, like, the JMU Tulane thing, I think, is the most interesting thing about the whole thing. Like, I have a whole thing set up for what we should do, because I think that was on the dock somewhere. But I just don't like the auto bids for the group of 5. I'm over it. If they earn it by being a top whatever team, fine. But if you don't, no. It's just my opinion.
On Duke, really quickly, Wayne. The fact that Duke ended up the ACC champion, if you'd have told me that at any point during the season, after we'd seen them play, I would not have been surprised. I thought all year long this team was good enough to be an ACC champion. Right. The thing is, they were so self-sabotaging at times. Illinois, Tulane, UConn, Virginia the first time. Like, they didn't even get off the bus against Virginia the first time. Those were games that they just completely sabotaged themselves. But talent-wise, look, I mean, you could see the Darien Mensah talent. And the other thing is, nobody told Manny Diaz the plot. Because Manny was like, man, double birds to you guys. I'm going for it on every 4th down. Doesn't matter if it's 4th down in overtime, where if we don't get it, all Virginia has to do is kick a field goal. We are going for it. And then fake punts, like, they did not give any you-know-whats. They played like they had nothing to lose, and Virginia didn't. Virginia played like they had a college football playoff berth to lose. Duke played like it had nothing in the world.
They lost it.
Yes, they did.
So
they did have that to lose, and they lost it.
Here's my question, though, moving forward, because part of this, which I tried to outline on our pre-show doc here, is like trying to offer potential solutions, Roddy. Like, you say that the ACC tiebreaker scenario or situation is not broke. You don't think that gets reviewed?
No. I didn't say that. I said it was not unique.
Not unique.
Because everybody has this.
Okay.
Like, it's basically the same as the Big Tens, basically the same as the SECs, basically the same as the Big 12s. Because you go, if you have a 3-team tie or more, basically, has anybody played everybody and beaten everybody? The answer is no. You move on to common opponents. Who's beaten who? If the common opponents are the same, you go to basically conference opponents win percentage, which is conference opponent strength of schedule. Everybody has it. The American's the only one that doesn't. But yes, it's going to be looked at, and it needs to be looked at because ultimately the games that decided who was in the ACC championship game, not all of them, but some of them were games like Virginia Tech, Clemson, 2 teams that had no bearing on the race. Stanford, UNC was a game because Miami played Stanford. Duke played UNC. UNC wins that game by 5 points, and it decides who goes to the conference championship game. Louisville's 1-point loss to Clemson, maybe? I can't remember. But Louisville has a 1-point loss along the way. That determines who goes to the AC championship game. Those games should have no bearing on who plays in your championship. It ends up being fairly arbitrary, in my opinion. So at least make it arbitrary in a way that helps the league.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, when the championship that I played in was a tiebreaker. USC, Arizona, UCLA, all 6-2 in conference. But we played Arizona and USC, and we beat them. So
and that's fair.
That makes
sense.
sense.
It worked out that way, but back then there was only one team you didn't play, and that year we didn't play Oregon. So if Oregon was in the mix, then it gets complicated because you don't have the head-to-head. And then you start going deeper into the tiebreaker because these, like you said, these rules, remember, people forget, we didn't have conference championships for the majority of football history.
Right.
So there had to be tiebreaker. Even when the conferences were smaller, even when the Pac-10 was the Pac-10, you only played 8. Well, you were one of them, and then you played 8 other teams, and then you had one team, and you went on 2-year cycles that you did not play. Now we have 18 and 16 and all these leagues that are so big. You don't play people, and then you have to figure out these tiebreakers, which, as you pointed out, become just stupid.
Yeah,
it's how do you do it?
Should we? I don't know. 9 conference games will help. Not the Big Ten, but it'll help the ACC and the SEC. My question is, like, should we, like the Big Ten, 18 teams, should you just split up into 2 9-team divisions, play a round robin in your division, and then have the top 4 play each other for the playoff spots? Like, that to me feels a little more even, but there's always going to be the complaint of, well, this, it's harder to get out of this one than that one. But
right, when you have Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State in the same, or
you would try to split those up.
They tried that.
Yeah, but you don't know. But you don't know the problem.
They tried that. The ACC tried it. The Big Ten tried it. Remember?
Well, we had it and we got rid of it.
But you never know when Indiana's going to get good.
Right. The coastal and the coastal and the Atlantic.
100%.
And legends. Like,
and
they
the
tried
complaint
that.
was that the
People
complaint
hated it.
that the complaint was that we never got the best 2 teams in the conference championship games because the Big Ten championship game was always the sacrificial lamb from the West playing the East. But if you have the conference championship games are meaningless at this point because Alabama didn't get punished. The American Conference Championship game is very consequential. The Big Ten meant nothing. The ACC meant something, obviously. But if we got to the point, and I've never been on this path, but I am now. We got to the point where, like, hey, Big Ten, you got 4 spots. You figure out how to do it, and you have 4 games to play to get into those spots.
Yep.
Like I find that to be more compelling than what we did this year.
Let me paint a picture because I come on, I have a whole
Wayne's
page
got
on this stuff.
Wayne's got crayon on napkin.
I got crayon and scribble, and it's because the more I think about it, and I love what you said because I am after what happened this year, and by the way, we're always there's gonna be more of this. I love auto bids, so I go Big Ten gets 4, SEC this is next year, 16 teams. Big Ten gets 4, SEC gets 4, ACC gets 2, and Big 12 gets 2. And those 2 getting 2 auto bids is 1 more than they got this year. Okay, and now listen, no more conference championship games. Okay, and there's a lot of teams like SC gets in this model because it would have been 4 in the Big Ten. Yeah, the SEC loses 1, but my play-in games, instead of having championship games, the way this works out numbers-wise, you have a game to play into the playoffs. Virginia at Notre Dame. You have Michigan at BYU. Arizona at Texas, Utah at Vandy.
So
we start with 4-4-2-2, but that doesn't mean that the SEC still can't get Vandy and Texas in. That doesn't mean that
the 4 at-larges are play-in games.
The 4 at-large, you're playing those. Yes, you're taking the next, and I don't care. No autos after that. It's 4-4-2-2, and then you have 4 play-in games. That instead of having these championship games that you don't know if you're going to be punished or not or rewarded or not, and to be honest with you, some teams, people like us, reporters are going, do you really want to play an extra game? Do you really want to? Now you have 4 games that matter. You have 4 games that if they win, they get to go on to the playoff. It just adds so much more meaning to those games.
And just so I'm clear, Wayne, in your plan, to hell with the group of 5, right? Just so I'm clear.
No, because after you pick, because remember, It's not going to go in order. But after you have your 4-4-2-2 automatic bids, which is Virginia and Duke in the ACC, by the way, according to the tiebreakers, okay, they're in. Whatever I figured out. But either way, the idea is I like the idea of playing games, and I like the idea of auto bids because I'm tired of having people in a room decide. And I agree, Roddy. I'm sure they're not trying to. They were going to make a fan base grumpy or two, no matter what. Like, I could listen to, if Texas got in, 3-loss Texas, could they win a playoff game?
Yes.
The answer is yes, they could. In this scenario, they have a chance to play themselves in and keep playing.
I don't hate that way. Why I don't think the Big Ten deserves 4 spots, to be honest with you.
Not this year, maybe.
Maybe not. You're maybe you're right, but that number. By the way, could that be fluid? Could that be something that they look at?
I would hope
and adjust?
so, because last year they certainly would have, because of Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State all deserved it. How often will we get that? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a.
Soon as you give the Big Ten, I started with 4-4-3-3 and work from there. We could do 3-3-3-3. I don't know, but are you going to give? Because it's my humble opinion that every single year, all of us in this, and everybody else that covers sports, we tell people who are the best teams before the season's even started. We tell people who the best conference is before the season even started. We had to go 8, 9, 10 games into the season before people started admitting maybe Arkansas is not good.
Maybe they had one of the best offenses in the country until then.
But the idea is that we don't even look at records sometimes. Just go, well, that team's supposed to be good or that conference is supposed to be good. When you have auto bids, whatever the numbers are, and again, I struggle with that. Whatever the numbers are on who gets an auto bid, you know that if you make it to that point, you're in. There's nobody in a room that's going to decide whether we're in or not. We earned it on the field. And it brings back, because how many teams right now are scrambling and trying to figure out how they don't play Ohio State week 1 in non-conference? How many of those games are we going to start losing because nobody wants to play important? Everybody wants to go 3-0 now that everybody's at 9 conference games in their non-conference. Everybody's going to want to do that. We're going to lose great matchups between these conferences because winning those games matters more than playing good football games. If you have auto bids, you can overcome that. It's not a problem.
Roddy, I know this is not a simple question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Did the events of the last couple of days lead you to believe that this thing's going to get expanded from a 12-team model to something larger?
Yeah, I think we get some pretty significant changes. Because remember, they were supposed to decide on changes for next year by December 1st. That got bumped back to sometime in mid-January. Right. I think we're going to get some pretty significant changes. Expansion to 16, I think, is certainly something that's going to happen. Particularly when you look at the fact that a 10-2 SEC team got left out and wasn't even close with Vandy. Yeah. And I think Vandy was playing
for what? We already said, we all already agreed on the show that there's only most years 3 teams that can win a national championship.
I did not agree to that.
You didn't? Not this year. We talked about it before. We were talking about that earlier. Or last year. Could Texas win a playoff game? Could Vandy win a playoff game?
I think they could win a playoff game. I don't think they're national championship teams.
Well,
BYU's only lost to Texas Tech. Could they beat someone that's not as good as Texas? Yeah.
How many national championship teams do you think there are for this year, Felder?
This year?
Yeah.
Let me look at the bracket again. But realistically,
Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Georgia, Indiana, still Ohio State.
Yeah, those 3.
Those are my 3 favorites.
I don't like Texas Tech. I love their defense, by the way. Roberts and those boys, they really bring it. I love their defense. I think that they I think 4. I don't think anybody that's in the back or playing in that week round 1.
No to Oregon. No one's even talking about Oregon.
Yeah. I mean, I think Oregon could win it all.
Okay,
I think Miami or Texas A&M could win it all. I don't think Ole Miss can, but if they get hot, I think
Miami
they
can win it all. Roddy Jones.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
If
Did you see
Beck
Ohio
doesn't
State-
make
hold on,
mistakes and their
hold on.
defense plays well.
Did you see Ohio State's offensive line against Indiana?
Yeah.
Who's got better players, Indiana or Miami, up front on the defensive line?
Indiana.
With stars.
That's not true. That's factually inaccurate. How many pros does Indiana have on that defensive front? And how many first rounders?
They don't. You're right.
Ruben Bain is better than all those boys.
They do not have the same draft picks that Miami has.
So who has better players?
Miami has better players. I think Indiana is better.
Indiana's better as a defense. I'll
yes,
agree with
that's
that.
what
That
matters more to me.
But our team and talent, two different things.
But that defense. Hold on. Let's not act like Miami's bad defensively or their defensive front.
No, I didn't say that. But I'm saying
I didn't say they're bad. I said they're not as good as Indiana.
Team matters.
I think that defensive front is every bit as good as Indiana. I think Indiana's the third best defensive front in this thing. Texas Tech is better, and Miami's the best because actually Texas Tech might be better, but it's because David Bailey and Ruben Bain, those two dudes are
they're
different
very good.
from anybody else in the
and they're going to get picked before anybody from Indiana. Totally agree.
Correct. And so
but
we're
as
talking
a team,
offensive line alone. No. I'm talking about offensive line, because if you can get to Julian saying obviously that offense becomes human, and that's what you need to do. You need to make sure the offense isn't Super Saiyan. Offensive line alone.
Very good.
Offensive line versus defense. Yeah, how about that? Offensive line versus defensive line. If Indiana can get after Ohio State's offensive line, I have no doubt that Texas Tech and Miami can. And if you can beat Ohio State, and I think that is one of the keys to beating Ohio State.
Yes.
If you can beat Ohio State, you can win a national championship. You can win this. You can win the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay.
And I think both A&M and Miami can give Ohio State troubles up front. And thus, it leads me to believe that either one of those could win a national championship.
There we go. All right, I'm writing it in my notes. I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch some more Miami because I'm being Roddy, bro, you're the king. You let me look.
I also had Miami 3 times this year.
Yeah, but here's what's fun, and I don't disagree with anything that's being said, but I don't want to discount what Indiana has that maybe these other teams don't have. There's a secret sauce in what they're doing. And there's a team aspect, and I'm not saying other teams don't have it, but in the modern era of college football and transfers and all that stuff, and Indiana has those too. We know that. It just feels like what Cignetti's doing is so unique. They're really, really, really good, but man, has he got a bunch of guys that without as many stars. Maybe not as many. Now, granted, they have some dudes that are going to get drafted plenty high enough. But I agree with you. They probably don't have if you just match up person for person. But as a team, they're pretty special. Like, every time you watch them, when they played a team they should kill, they destroyed them. Mm-hmm. They've got – they just do a lot of things right. Like, I didn't think that when you watch Ohio State's defense, and admit it, when you start talking about – the amount of talent and draft picks they have, and you watch that game, you go, Indiana's defense was pretty much right there with them, and probably shouldn't be based on who's playing.
Right.
I think that's a factor that's like so interesting. But like you said, with a bigger playoff, we'll go back to who can win it. Brackets matter. Oregon had a horrible thing last year. This year, they've got a road.
Yeah, styles make fights. I think that's really important to note.
That's true too. Yeah.
And so, and I mean, I think that speaks to your point, Wayne, with like the bracket mattering. Like, who do you draw? Who do you want to play? Who do you not want to play? I'm gonna go back to like, because since we were already talking about it, who do you think in this bracket in this, right? 12 teams. Because we've talked so much about the moving to 16 and how to set it up and do that. We've got teams sitting right in front of us. Right. What is the team on here that nobody wants to play?
I think it's Indiana. Yeah, I mean, of the ones playing in the first round,
just no in all of the 12.
Yeah, it's Indiana and Georgia to me.
I like that. I can dig that answer. Wayne.
I mean, I still think Ohio State is dangerous. Like you said, super
honestly,
Saiyan, I believe. I mean, that game could have gone either way, right?
If Saiyans knee doesn't hit the ground on the quarterback sneak, they probably win that game.
You're talking about two teams that finished undefeated, right? And that's not easy to do, even though I agree that after you got into the middle and the bottom of the Big Ten, it wasn't anything to, we were trying to act like Nebraska was a good team. And the coach is making a lot of money. I mean, every time I watch Nebraska, it's like they're not good. Like
their
they're
quarterback's
not.
about to leave, apparently.
Well,
He fired his uncle.
And by the way, whoever wants him,
yeah,
take
on
him.
the move. Interesting.
Yeah, but
a lot
he's
of smoke.
just
I mean, they just
Sam
fired his
Levitt's.
uncle.
Sam Levitt's on the move too. By the
Yeah.
way, I would take Sam Levitt over Raiola. It personally.
Yeah, how about that, Sam Levitt? Next quarterback at Miami.
It could be. Well, right?
I'm going to answer your question, Felder, with Georgia. No disrespect to Indiana. No disrespect intended at all for Georgia. But I think if you start lining up these teams and the margins, which are going to get significantly smaller, you would hope, as this tournament progresses, give me the best coaching staff. Give me the guy who's done it. I think that matters a lot.
Signetti's going to clip that, and he's going to use that. Best coaching staff. Ooh.
Well, listen, I love Sig.
I'm not crossing that guy. I'm not crossing that guy.
I love Sig.
Right.
His brother was on staff when I was at UNC. His brother was our offensive coordinator, Frank. I love Kurt Signetti. Did you guys see the clip of him when they asked him why players stay and why they want to play for him? And he said, "I win." Yeah. That's it. Easy answer. I love
Google
it.
Google me. I win.
Google me.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
you
tremendous.
did say Google.
Yeah. He is.
But
he
there's
is
also in Kirby Smart, you guys. There's a guy to Steven's point. He's still coaching old school ways.
Yeah.
At Georgia, he's still saying we're going to play in this championship game because it's a football game. We play football. Like he still talks in a way that he feels like he's still an old school coach. And when you're winning at a clip that he's winning at, and I would argue Signetti's the exact same way. These guys are coaching hard. They're telling their players the truth. They're not tiptoeing around because they're afraid someone's going to leave. Well, because they know, you know what, if you leave, we'll bring in someone else just as good or better than you. Like, that's the confidence they have.
Yeah.
And at those schools, they can do that. But Kirby Smart, how many of you felt like as the season went on, we didn't think Georgia was as good as Georgia normally is at the beginning of the year?
Right.
And this is what great coaches do. As they move on, and we're like, is this Stockton guy very good at quarter? As the season moved on, you started going, if Georgia's in any game in the fourth quarter, they are going to win it.
Well,
then as it moved on, and now you're starting to see a Georgia that's turned it up a notch. Now it's not only like, are they going to win? They're not going to be in close games. They're just going to be like they did to Alabama. Now
they're in a pretty close game in Atlanta on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll let that team in the playoff.
Yeah. But I mean, it just feels like Georgia, well, you picked Georgia, Roddy. I watched come on. You picked Georgia.
I did.
Georgia's your national champion.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, you're on national television picking
Way to hold
Georgia.
him accountable, Wayne. Way to hold him accountable.
No, I
this
did.
is what
I'm
you
just
love
saying.
to see.
Wayne's just talking about them blowing out everybody. I'm just simply saying.
I didn't say they blew out everybody. I felt like they got better.
The committee was too cowardly to put the team that held Georgia to 16 in the playoff. Put them in the playoff. Jackets. Nobody wants to see Haynes King coming down the track.
That's true.
You could sell me of these first-round teams, look, respectfully, I think we all know what's going to happen at Autzen Stadium. I know, as a JMU alum, what's going to happen at Autzen Stadium.
It's been a nice story.
You could sell me on Oregon. You could sell me on the winner of A&M Miami. And, Roddy, you're very high on Miami. I was just looking at their odds. Second worst odds amongst the first-round teams. I take JMU and Tulane out of the equation, but only Oklahoma has worse odds of these P4 teams to win it all than Miami. You could sell me on a Miami Texas A&M winner going on a run. You could sell me on Oregon going on a run. I don't know about Ole Miss. Should they beat Tulane? Because we saw that Ole Miss Georgia game earlier this year. Georgia didn't punt the entire game. I mean, they just did whatever they want. I don't know. I think this thing's pretty wide open, man. I really do. I don't think there is to your original question, Felder, the most dangerous team who scares you. I don't know if there's a heads and shoulders team. I think we all agree, Indiana and Georgia are very good teams, but, Ohio State's right there. Oregon on the right day could get you. A&M's defense could knock your quarterback out.
I was just going to say, nobody's talking about A&M.
Then what?
I mean, I get it. Yeah. They lost to Texas, but, it's hard to go undefeated.
It's
hard to go undefeated. A&M's good.
But A&M had, you look at that A&M schedule, and I think the reason people are discounting them is because of the schedule.
Yeah, I got you.
Because, I mean, the best team that they played in the ACC and the SEC was Missouri. Other than Texas, was Missouri.
And Missouri was another overhyped team because they hadn't played anybody when they were winning.
Correct. So I like A&M a lot. I think that part of the bracket is the toughest part. The Miami A&M first rounder,
right.
Ohio State, and then having to go through Georgia. I just think it's tough.
Well, since we talk about quarterbacks all the time, though, two quarterbacks that don't get talked about enough are Marcel Reed and Trinidad Chambliss. I think these guys are both fantastic players. Right. I like them both, like a lot. Yeah. Like, I watch them play, and I'm like, we should probably talk about those guys more than we do.
Reed's the more volatile of the two, and that worries me. Like the you talk about if you look at quarterback volatility, I think Miami, Texas A&M is probably the game where the swings have been the greatest, because Marcel Reed in the same game has been awesome and terrible, and obviously Carson Beck has the games where
he has the same ability. Yep.
Well, yeah. Carson's a little bit more stable to me. Like the game where he threw the 4 picks,
right?
Like, not all of those are on him, and even the ones that are on him could have been prevented.
Right.
Like there's one down the seam where like Keelan Marion could play defender and knock the ball down, but he doesn't. Come on, help me out there, bro. It's a 50-50 ball. You're supposed to end this with the ball. So I'm not as low on Carson as some, but he doesn't need to be if he's the star of that game, Miami ain't winning. Like, they need to run the ball. They need Malachi Tony to be great, and they need Carson to be a complimentary.
It's funny. You want Carson Beck to play for Oklahoma, is what you're saying.
If Carson Beck was playing for Oklahoma, I'd feel better about Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on Carson Beck too. I do like him. I think sometimes people were just waiting. It's kind of like for whatever his situation was and why people like him or don't like him, they were waiting for him to make mistakes so that they could jump all over him. But if you really think about it, he's had a really solid year too. There's a lot of good
great
quarterbacks
career,
in this
man.
thing. I mean, Dante Moore's another quarterback that don't sleep on him, man. He made some plays when he needed to the most for Oregon. You look at that Iowa game in horrible weather. He threw a ball in that game that was stupid good to lead them to a win on the road that they needed, or they're probably not in the playoff, right? They lose that game, they're probably out. Or they are out. So he did some things down the stretch that were pretty important too. And it feels like Oregon's kind of being overlooked because Indiana, Ohio State were so good. But there's a guy in Dan Lanning that it'll be interesting to see because I feel like they got a good bracket. They should win 2 games.
I can't.
Texas Tech in the second round is tough.
That's a tough game.
That is going to be a good game. I agree. Yeah.
Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart. I can't wait to hear what their pregame sounds like.
It'll probably get leaked. I mean, we normally get the Kirby one leaked. Dan Lanning's a psychopath. I mean, he is that man is wired differently. And I don't feel great about my Dukes going to Autzen. By the way, I will not be there. People have been asking me if I'm going to Eugene. I will not be going to Eugene.
Why not?
I have a family ski trip that has been that has been booked and paid for about 6 months. It's not. We're not going to Colorado. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to Salt Lake City. We're going to West Virginia. Mountain? Okay, no, we're going to West Virginia.
It's called a sunk cost.
I understand.
And there is a sunk cost fallacy that you are now falling for.
I like being married. I'm just going to put that out there. I enjoy the benefits of marriage. And
how often is your team going to go to the college football playoff?
Listen,
the answer is
well aware.
Once. One time, and you're going to miss it because of a ski trip and a marriage.
Yes, I understand, but
unbelievable.
I know, but I just want to get that out there. Don't ask me like.
Actually, guys, imagine Hartzell single again. It'd be a tough world for him. So he should probably stay married.
I think you should, Stephen. I think you should call her bluff. I think you should call her bluff.
You think so?
She ain't gonna divorce you over this. And you know what? See it. Put it to the test.
Yeah, but she'd have to be there with 2 kids by herself.
You go to Oregon and head over to Mount Hood. I mean, come on.
Roddy, you know what? You're actually right. I probably would not get dropped immediately, but my quality of life would suffer. Right? It would suffer.
No, it would be drastically improved. It would be drastically improved for a day or 2 because you'd be out there, you'd be with your people, and you'd be experiencing JMU in the college football playoff for the only time ever. And then you'd have to pay for it for I don't know how long. A month, 6 months, worth it, dude. You got to go.
You think so? You think 48 hours in Eugene is worth it?
I do.
Bro, I don't know, man.
Experience, man. What are you going to remember more when you die, that trip to Eugene or that trip to West Virginia?
I don't know. It's a fair
Life's
question.
about experiences.
Because if it's look, I saw
That is
Oregon,
a bucket list stadium, Hartzell. It really
I've
is.
been
If
to
you've
the
never seen a
stadium.
game there,
No,
woo,
I've not seen a game there. I don't know.
They do the most with 52,000 that you can do. I mean, they get the most out of that.
Listen, I hear you, and I know you guys would love to live vicariously through me when I'm going through personal hell, both at the game and then coming home domestically. But yeah, man, look, we all make choices, right? Everybody's got choices.
Yeah, E40.
I've made my choice, E40. Yes, I have.
Take a vote.
I am excited for these games.
Should Steven go? Should he stay?
Of
or
course
should
they
he
want.
go?
Yeah, of course they want me to go. You guys want me to be like in hell, and that's
No,
fine.
I want you.
That's
I want
okay.
you to experience JMU in the playoff for the only time ever. That's what I want for you.
I don't know if it's going to be the only time ever.
It is.
I really don't.
It is definitely.
If this
It is
thing
the only time in
expands,
history.
look, I don't want to put on the tinfoil hat. Billy Napier's coming. I mean, who knows? He may take the baton and just keep running with it. I don't know. Wayne is going to get up close and personal with the chosen one
Billy
later
Napier.
today. I don't
I
love
gotta
it.
I gotta sit down with Chesney this afternoon, boys.
Roddy, I don't
Yeah.
love it. His personality is that of a wet blanket that's been sitting outside and is kind of skunked and kind of starts to smell like a hot yoga towel after a couple of times you've used it and you haven't washed it. Like Billy Napier is just not a very warm and fuzzy guy. Chesney, on the other hand, Wayne, you're about to find out.
I
That
know,
man
but
is
did you
handsome.
just
He is
say something
charming.
about a yoga towel? I just want to know. Is Steven Hartzell going to yoga?
He goes. You don't know this
I go to hot yoga. Yeah, twice a week.
with Lane?
with his wife.
Not with Wayne. No.
No, with Lane. With Lane.
Lane, man.
You ever been to a hot yoga class with Lane Kiffin?
I've done hot yoga. My wife got me to go one time.
My brother teaches hot yoga. Did I ever
I
tell you
almost
guys
walked
that?
out halfway
really?
through. It is the hardest thing
It's very hard.
ever. I
Yeah, it's
hate
very
it.
difficult.
Like he
Yeah, my
teaches-
brother is an instructor. Like he's like legit.
He's
really,
a yogi.
like, very highly regarded. Like,
I could see
yoga
that.
Instructor.
You guys
What do
probably
the
have
shorts?
similar
What do the
builds.
shorts look like that you wear in hot yoga? And do you go shirtless, Hartzell? It's a
Yeah,
sweaty
you go
class.
shirtless?
I do not
Sweaty.
go shirtless. I wear a headband because I'm
Nice.
literally
God.
dripping.
And shorts,
I'm
right?
dripping sweat. If I don't wear a headband, it is like a pool of sweat underneath me. I go headband and then I go tank top. I do go tank
Good for
top.
you. Don't let anybody shame you, Steven. You
Tight,
do your hot
tight
yoga.
tank, loose tank.
No, it's a looser tank, but here's
Nah, I
the
should
thing.
go tight.
I do hot
Gotta go
yoga
tight.
at the YMCA. This is not a hot yoga studio. Like, Roddy, I'm sure your brother probably teaches it like a yoga studio, right? Like
Yeah,
a proper
apparently it's like
facility.
a highfalutin one too. Because I told somebody about it here recently. They were like, "Oh,
I could see that.
he's-
This
Like, oh, I
information
didn't know
makes
about
me
that.
think that you need to do what your wife wants you to do and stay married. You don't want to.
Listen, man, you know I
dude,
gotta,
you're already going to hot yoga. I mean,
Yeah, you're
you're
already-
giving
you're locked-
you're giving
you're locked
hot
into
yoga
this
a couple
lifestyle.
times a week. You might as well go to Autzen.
You think I've built up enough? I've made enough deposits
No.
that I've got to withdraw.
I mean,
left,
is it
you know
your
what I mean?
idea to go to hot yoga or is it not?
No, it is. I mean, my hips and my back. I mean, I need it. Everything's starting to
neck
tighten
and my
up at
back.
my advanced stage. Yes. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Let's go back to
I
talking.
am so
football.
not surprised that you go to hot yoga. I am. Not
Listen,
surprised
it's good
at all.
for you.
It
It's
just
a
fits.
sweat.
The guy from
I'm happy for you.
California, the guy from California is looking down on your hot yoga.
Yeah.
Just
No,
want you to know
Wayne,
that.
you should get in there, man.
My
You need
my
it.
wife goes to
Wayne
all
does-
the she
Wayne
she
does
pays so much
real-
money for her.
Wayne does real workouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
This guy
Wayne-
rides
just
in a
kidding.
golf
Hot
cart.
yoga-
What are you
hot
talking
yoga's
about?
a
Real
real workout. It
workouts.
is.
Wayne, you still
I want to
get
get some Pilates in.
Yeah, I got dumbbells and weight bench in my back room downstairs that my sons and I share.
I got some dumbbells. I got kettlebells.
Yeah.
I got a Peloton that I haven't used in 2 years.
Wayne's
Dude,
got a Bowflex.
I
if
rode
you're
the
selling that
Peloton
Peloton,
yesterday.
let me know. I am in the market for a Peloton.
I am ready to offload this thing.
Dennis
I
Horton is
too-
the one instructor that I can handle because he doesn't kill me. Those women on Peloton, they're sadistic. They're terrible people.
My only
They-
exposure is like when we go to hotels that have Pelotons in them. I love it, man. I love it
it's an
every time.
amazing because they
Absolutely
push
hate
you. Yeah.
And I just listen to podcasts and turn the volume off and just look at the meter.
No. I do that too sometimes. I listen to my own music.
Yeah.
And because especially, but like I said, there are some. It's not Horton. It's Dennis Morton. I think. Like there are some people that I could tolerate, but man, some of the women that instruct on that,
Oh yeah, they're
they're
all amazing.
evil. They
Evil,
kill you.
Amazing and evil are kind of the same thing in this room.
When you're getting a workout, yeah.
They're pushing you. Yeah, they're pushing you. so.
Hartzell knows this. I got off it, and I hit the neighborhood, dude. I hit the streets, little run.
Felder,
little
if you're
walk.
looking to offload it, send me a price, and
I
will.
will.
Roddy,
speaking of checking with your wife, I will have to check with her, even though I can tell you this.
I mean, look, no
Roddy,
pressure. I'm just saying.
Call Peloton.
She hasn't used it.
Just call Peloton and say, "Hey, I'm Roddy Jones.
Dude, there's no way.
I stand right next to Brock Osweiler, and I'm on set.
I'm on
send me a
I'm a foot
Peloton.
shorter than Brock Osweiler.
You
Please
could
send me a
probably
Peloton.
be a representative. Just wear a Peloton shirt every once in a while and represent.
Yeah,
They'll
that's
send
awesome.
you free stuff.
There's a couple companies I'd rather do before that because the amount of money that we spend on Lululemon in this household.
Trust
Lulu,
me, us
please
too. Us
help
too.
me, bro. Help me.
Help
Me, Lulu.
Whatever
We
Felder
were in a
quotes you-
Lululemon store yesterday.
No, we
My
can't
wife
do it.
bought a purse.
No, you're
Not
going to
even close.
undercut me, Hartzell.
Whatever Felder quotes you on the Peloton, I'll come in $50 to $75 cheaper to offload.
Wow.
I like
You're trying to
prices.
offload yours too?
Yeah.
When it
It's
gets cold,
Oh,
it's
Just
we gotta
talked
bid
about
more.
going to the Y.
It's a COVID purchase that's
Same.
here.
I
Don't need
love
it
my
anymore.
Peloton.
We like
All
to
right.
touch grass. We like to get out there and touch grass, baby.
All right.
That's how we
I'm an
exercise.
outside boy, man.
We
Like,
will,
I'm
we will
in Wayne,
start
guess what?
negotiations.
We go for
It
walks
is.
all the time, but we'll go for walks, my wife and I, and ride the Peloton.
Roddy, that shit's
No,
heavy, dog. I'm
I
just telling you.
do a
don't
little
know
bit
how
of
I'm gonna get
weights,
it out
and
of
then I
here.
go ahead and I get
I'll come up there and get it.
Cool.
It's nice to have
Off-season.
options.
You used to come here all the time for ACC network football games, and now you're bouncing around with ABC. You don't come up to Winston-Salem anymore. I know Jake
There
Dicker's
was a
working on
shot.
trying
There
to
were,
change that.
there were a
though.
couple shots that we had to get to Winston.
Hey, you come up
couple.
here for like the summer road trip thing. Bring a trailer, bro. I'm not, man. I will help you load this thing. Seriously.
Excellent. All right,
Bro, I
man,
need this. I need
say
that square
less.
foot. Yeah, what size shoe you wear? I'll give you this. I'll give you some cleats.
I wear
I
like a 12, 13.
Damn,
Do
boy.
you really?
Okay.
Yeah, if you-
Because guess
yeah,
what I
got
have?
big
I have.
feet.
I can't, you know what? I'll earn it for us. Fuck you, Steven. I have 12 and a half of the Nike
Ooh.
Peloton shoes. Not the hard,
Sweden in the Felder household.
not the hard plastic joints. The hard you got the hard plastic ones, don't you?
No, I got the nice ones. I got the nice ones too, but they're not size 12 and a half. They're an 11.
I
But
feel like you
it's
guys
okay.
are both bidding.
You don't
Maybe
have to.
We'll take both of them.
Bro, I got the super reps. I got the. Hang on.
Oh, we're taking time out so they can go get their cycle shoes. Wait, this is awesome.
Mine are ripped, Roddy. My cycle shoes actually have a rip in them, and I don't
Because
have
you
new
actually
ones.
use them.
Yeah,
You actually
yeah,
use them, unlike
they're
these two
worn
guys
out.
that are probably in perfect condition.
These guys are
Hey,
trying
man.
to sell you. Roddy, just
I know, this is
content to be
great.
like, I mean, it's worth. I think it's worth.
This is better.
when
This is
when
better.
it gets cold, being able to work out inside is
And like
is
you
nice.
could do a 30-minute ride,
Dude, you could do
45-minute ride.
15 to 20 minute rides if
15,
you're in a
20
hurry.
minutes?
And your heart rate goes up. Like
Absolutely.
I walk a lot. I don't like to run anymore because my body hurts too much. But like the riding, it's
Dang,
there's
Steven
no
got a
impact.
big house.
Yeah.
Steven.
Where is
Well,
it? Where is
Steven
it,
comes
Felder?
out of that back room. That's a bathroom back there. He's gonna come out
Oh,
with
those are
his pants half
legit.
down.
Those joints
Yeah,
are
dude.
legit.
These are the
Yeah.
Nike super reps.
Yeah,
Got
those
the
are
cleats
legit.
on them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm
You
not playing
clipped
around.
in. You are not playing around. Although when's the last time you used those?
When's the last time I
They
used these?
they look pretty fresh.
Yeah, because they are.
And you can have them, Roddy, for only
Last time I used these were when I lived in Chicago.
$59.99.
I know, right? Oh,
Last time I used these, I lived in Chicago. And that was only a couple times.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, where is Steven? Is Steven gone to Narnia to find these
Bro,
things?
this dude is.
He's gone for a
Yo,
while.
how big is his house, dude?
Oh, it's Casa de or it's palatial.
Good.
Wayne, since Steven's gone, I do want to ask about Bob Chesney. We haven't had a chance to talk
Yeah,
about him.
right,
totally.
He came back in at a different door.
Yeah,
Good
different. Yeah.
Lord.
Oh, those joints are nice.
Oh,
They're
so
about
we
the same.
got the same shoes.
They're the
You
same.
guys don't ride at all. Neither one of you.
Not at all.
Those shoes are
It's
brand
fresh.
new.
Any exercise where you have to wear a shoe this ugly ain't worth it. It ain't worth
It's
it.
not, I don't
That's
think
not
they're
ugly. I
ugly.
like that shoe.
I think they're pretty nice looking.
Well, they're yours,
All right,
Roddy, for
boys.
the right price. They're yours.
All right.
They're not going to
You were
fit
gonna
him.
ask. You were gonna
We'll
ask me
negotiate
about
offline.
Chesney there, Roddy.
I am
Mine
asking
are going
about
to
this.
fit him.
Yeah.
Yours won't.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
How
No,
can Roddy be 5'5" with a size 12 and a half shoe?
bro, come on, man. I'm like on the media guide. I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
This is shortchanging me with 5'5". I'm at least 5'10".
First of all, I'm 5'10", and we stood next
to
each other.
Osweiler. You look like you were 5'6".
With the right shoes on. He also had tall shoes. I mean, he's tall and he had tall shoes and the camera angle, Wayne, because when the camera's closer to him, it makes him taller, man.
Angles matter.
Yeah, matter.
I told him next time I'm not doing it without a box. I'm putting it on my contract.
Your towering intellect was what
if I work
stood out.
with anyone over 6'3", I need a box.
You're gonna get an Apple box?
I'm gonna put it in my contract. You know what? I'll take the embarrassment of standing on the box.
Bro, let me tell you something. I don't know if you guys watch Jeopardy, but every now and then they do this side angle, and you can see which of the contestants is standing on an Apple box. So
That's funny.
Those things are tall. It looks like those things are pretty tall.
All right,
Bob Chesney. I'm being shamed here. You know what? All of you. Felder, we're the same height. Steven, I'm the same height as you. Wayne's the only tall one.
You can't be the same height as Steven and the same height as me.
I referred to Hartzell as a hobbit earlier this year, so just
you can't be the same height as Steven and be the same height as me.
Yeah, Steven, me and Felder are taller than you.
That's fine. I mean, you guys played. You guys were on D1 college football rosters. You should be taller than me.
Yeah, take that, Steven.
Yeah, take that. Take that.
I flip you. I flip you for real.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Bob Chesney.
Bob Chesney.
Well, no. So let's start with the let's just remind people that when Curt Cignetti left to go to Indiana, he took a whole bunch of JMU dudes.
Yes.
And when Bob Chesney came in, they were 9-4 that first year, and now 11-1 in the playoffs. So you can't just say, oh, he just rode the wave. He's done a hell of a job. He's won everywhere he's been. And the fact that UCLA went outside of their comfort zone and hired I didn't know this, but like the last sitting head coach that we had hired was like a million years ago. Like it was like Pepper Rogers or someone way back.
Former Georgia Tech coach.
Yeah. So like the idea is that like this guy's got experience. He's won at every level. And as we talked about earlier in the show, and I think this is the case with so many new coaches, you mentioned Billy Napier, Hartzell, like so many new coaches. Virginia Tech right now is riding a wave of hope. Virginia Tech used to be a program I used to love to watch. Remember those Michael Vick years?
Yeah, they created. Remember when ESPN2 was called The Deuce?
Yeah. No, but like everybody that has a new coach, you want to have hope, and the cycle's been so big and so crazy this year with so many changes that I think that of all of those changes, and I'm not going to say UCLA's is the best because it was a smart hire. They didn't go after someone that was going to cost $10 to $13 million a year. Like you end up getting a coach that's a proven winner, that's been a head coach that can build a program. And I think that like for everybody, you got to find like, is Lane Kiffin, remember they just did the Brian Kelly thing from Notre Dame, right? They just did that. They just did that experiment. Lane Kiffin was at Tennessee. Did he win at Tennessee?
No.
So there for a year, but
No, I know that, but my point, and trust me, I love what he's done at Ole Miss. I actually wish he would have stayed there to see this out, to see what could happen. But I get
Felder,
that going.
I need to hear.
Because he's going to say Ole Miss. Are you going to say Ole Miss is never going to win a national championship? Because you might be right.
No, that's not what I'm going to say. Oh. What I'm going to say is, like I told Steven this. I had to call my mom as the Lane Kiffin thing was going down because I was trying to figure out a way to talk about it. And my mom that's my moral compass. Like, she's not super into sports. She's not fanatical about it. So I just break down the situation for her. And she's like, oh. And he's done this before? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that sounds selfish.
Yeah.
And that's not the word. Everybody was like, he's a snake, he's a weasel, he's all this. And I was like, selfish is the easiest way to get there. And I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when he left Tennessee, he was on the phone telling players not to go to class. His early enrollees, his signing class. He was on the phone telling them, don't go to class because then you'll lose a year. Come with me. Now I wonder what that looks like with Ole Miss as they're going to the playoff. Who is he calling? Who is he, like, recruits, guys that they were already interested in the portal, current players on that roster? Who else is he calling to try to do that to snake them out. So, and I agree with you, Wayne. Like, they did it with Brian Kelly. So they're on the hook for 3 coaches right now. Orgeron gets his last payment, what, Roddy? Is it the middle of December?
I don't know, but I think it's this year. Yeah.
But they're on the hook for 3 coaches. They are massively on the hook for Brian Kelly, a guy who. So back to back, in my mind, they've hired 2 phonies at LSU, right?
Well, Brian Kelly was embarrassing. Just the way that whole thing started was embarrassing.
Yeah. It's a better fit with Lane.
Yes, I totally agree.
Because he understands the league. Yeah, the LSU thing is interesting with Lane because I can convince myself that a lot of things are right at once. I think ultimately he doesn't think this Ole Miss team can win a national championship.
Right.
And I think you look at last year where he had a better collection of talent than he does this year, and they didn't even make the playoff. And then you look at this year where, like, you know, you hit on a quarterback that was from Division II Ferris State, and because of the way that the schedule broke, you didn't really play a lot of high-end SEC talent.
Right.
You know, I think he is very reasonably looking and saying, and here's the other thing. Lane is not one of those guys that's a relentless recruiter like Kirby. Like, he's not.
Right.
He's never been known for that. So you go to the easiest, maybe second easiest, but easiest recruiting job in the country at LSU, where, like, the 5 stars come to you. You have to pick out. You can be selective in the state of Louisiana because all those kids will likely commit to you, you know. Right. 8 of the top 10 kids in Louisiana are going to LSU every year.
And then that extends also into Texas. And I don't want to say thanks to Katrina, but due to Katrina.
Yeah, you got a foothold in Houston.
That Houston pipeline goes straight into Louisiana because those kids grew up on LSU.
And then you're going to get a ton of boomerang kids that could leave Louisiana or leave Houston and want to play close to home. And yeah you're competing with A&M and stuff, but
like Harold Perkins' Jr.'s story is remarkable.
Yes.
Yeah. This can all be true, you guys, and yet he could still be selfish.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, I
right?
agree.
Like this is where Lane Kiffin says some very interesting things, and I don't even know how much he pre-thinks about this stuff or if it just comes out of his mouth. But he made the comment when they were talking about the players and the noise, and when he was going through that kind of holdout time period where he wasn't making a decision. And he made the comment, like, I don't think these players really care anymore who their coach is. I was, like, blown away by that. I'm like,
yeah,
wow. That was a weird, like because he was kind of referring, in my opinion, to the idea of the transfer portal and everybody's just looking for the next paycheck. And yeah, there's some of that. But I think those of us that work in college football, we could stereotype athletes like they're all just looking for a paycheck. Or we can actually get to know them and talk to them and realize that there's a whole lot of really good kids out there, young men that are actually still have good, strong character. Because it can be both. Like, you could be, like we're talking about him being selfish, you could be a player that's doing what's smart, right? Sure. And yet still be a good character person as well.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of the modern era of, like, it makes it really, really tricky. But anyway, going back to the original, because we could lose our way on Kiffin. There's a lot of teams. I actually think Penn State hit a home run and backed into it. I think Matt Campbell's going to be a heck of a coach there. And I think that they just kind of lucked out on that one because it was so late in the process that they probably – because Matt Campbell's known for not wanting to interview for jobs while he's still coaching, which, by the way, shouldn't even be don't you guys think they should also think about the calendar and when coaches can be?
Oh, dude, don't. I mean,
you gotta blow up the whole calendar and start over.
Totally
but
absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Joey McGuire's talked about it. Kirby Smart's talked about it. Like, these guys are like,
it's common sense.
These guys, like, heavyweight guys, have talked about it, and I think that from a calendar standpoint, the idea of having that early signing period during championship week, that's ridiculous. Like, that's go ahead.
And that's a symptom of what we always do. Like, you change one thing without realizing the effects of the other. Exactly.
Portal.
We moved up. They moved up early signing day because the portal. They wanted to prioritize high school until so that portal came after it. Well, you moved it up, and then you moved the portal back. So you didn't really have to move it up, because the portal used to open in December. Now it opens in January.
But the portal's still open during games. They still have teams
yeah.
playing.
But some of that's unavoidable because of the school calendar. I think
you have to move the calendar up to where the games finish sooner.
Wayne, here's what I
finishing
have.
so late. Yeah.
I'm in the middle of writing about this.
Oh, I love this.
The 7 things that I think we have to consider, or 6 things we have to consider, and then one thing that also, Wayne, you already hit on, which is not being able to hire guys or interview guys until after the games are over. National Signing Day. We should go back to 1. Just having 1. Don't need it to be in February. I started looking at academic calendars because some schools start on the 6th. Some schools start on the 19th. A lot of them start on the 12th. But you can enroll in a school, and as long as you're enrolled in that school, you can still make a choice of where you're going to go as long as you get there before the drop ad days.
Yeah.
So you have that. The playoffs.
Which usually are like the 3rd week in January or 4th week in January.
Right. So the playoff schedule, which is also it's a nightmare. I mean, going all the way to the 19th, 20th of January.
I figured it out where they could finish on the 3rd or the 5th, depending on if you want to do a Saturday or a Monday.
Right.
How would you do that, Wayne?
You move everything up. You could think about starting on week 0. That's one thing you could do, although that affects if students are at school.
That should be week 1.
That should be week 1, and then you don't give as much time off because remember last year, like some of the teams had to wait, especially the teams that had a bye. They had to wait so long before they played the first game. It was counterproductive. So you could just move everything up, and don't give them as many breaks. I mean, I know it is what it is, but the teams that won will still get a bye, right? So there's a way to move it up. You could cut off a few weeks for sure.
Do you know what day? The other day? You know what day the NFL draft declaration is for underclassmen?
It's soon.
I don't.
It's the 15th of January.
Yeah.
Is it really? Well.
Yeah. So there's still going to be.
They have a game.
Guys playing football.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So it's just all.
Those are all distractions before the biggest games of their lives. There's guys that it's possible that a backup is going to say, I'm going to enter the portal. They're going to enter the draft.
Possible for a backup to enter the portal. Yeah. Guy declares for the draft, all before the national championship game. Then you throw in National Signing Day. You mentioned Kirby Smart, Roddy, as a relentless recruiter. How can he be a relentless recruiter in the same way that he wants to be when he's got to get ready for the SEC championship game?
I don't know. He does it every year.
He does it.
You got good people. You have good people under you, though, right, Roddy?
Kirby Copter. He's
got the copter.
Staff. He's got
You have a great staff. I've said the same thing about Chesney. Chesney's coaching. The portal is going to be more important for UCLA than ever, and yet, by the way, I love that this is happening. Chesney gets to finish the year out with his team.
I love that too.
I love that. But he's got probably the biggest time is that portal time. And let's say they shock the world, and I don't think this is going to happen and beat Oregon. I mean, you're doing 2 jobs at once. That's tricky. All this stuff is extremely tricky.
Dan Mullen talked about it because he's at UNLV and he's staying at UNLV. If I'm not mistaken.
Great year at UNLV, by the way.
Great year,
unbelievable year.
It would take a lot for him to leave UNLV.
Yeah,
a lot.
But he mentioned when he was at Florida.
He was playing a lot of golf.
He mentioned when he was at Florida, he was like from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. I was Florida's offensive coordinator, and then from 6 p.m. until 6 a.m., I had to work on Mississippi State.
Yeah,
and that's
what always. Yeah,
it's
really John Summerall was telling us that he is working 2 jobs and he's loving it because he's a crazy person. Right. But he was getting calls during our meeting where we're like, is that a Tulane call or is that a Florida call? And he's like, Tulane, Florida. Just like that. That's how he's like call to call. He's having to switch hats for which one he's wearing. And he actually worked. He worked on both signing classes, and obviously he can't do a lot with the Tulane signing class.
Right.
But he was like, guys, like stay, like you will be okay. Here's the stuff. So he was helping talk to those guys as much as he could while signing the Florida class, and he signed 13 on the Tulane side and 18 on the Florida side. Like the dude's a maniac.
I mean, hey man, I'll tell you what, Matt Campbell, he gonna have to. You talk about getting in the portal.
Let's have that conversation.
Yeah.
No, what were you going to say?
They signed 2 kids.
Right.
They signed 2 kids, and James Franklin went and ran their pockets at Virginia Tech.
And the portal hasn't even opened, and I
Yep.
have heard from some people that is about to be a mass
They're-
exodus.
I was
I
going to say,
you guys,
there's a lot
UCLA
of people in the
signed
league.
12 without a coach, and then added 4 more when they got a coach.
Yeah.
So you could still do it, but I mean, the kids have to love the school to go there when they don't know what the situation
Right.
is. But when the coach is leaving,
Or they have to have no better options.
that's true. Well, which we'll find out later, right? We'll find out later if those players panned out or if it was just a let's fill.
Or even if they were
spots.
under the radar. Like, I think in those situations, if you are still paying the most and you are the biggest brand that they're being offered by, they will probably still go to you. Or they love the school. But,
Right.
at the end of the day, now, I think that regarding Matt Campbell, Penn State at its best has to be a roster that recruits well and then builds and develops, because they can recruit at a level to give you the types of players that are usually indicative of being able to win national championships. I think Matt Campbell has done an excellent job of doing more with less, and yet he's not going to be graded on a curve anymore, because that's what we did when he was at Iowa State. Like, nice season, 9 wins. You get fired for that at Penn State. Right. And I don't know that there's a guarantee, like, without bringing in the types of players that you need to at Penn State, are you going to be able to portal all these guys? It's really expensive to do that. And can you get enough? You're going to have to hit on the quarterback. Like, I'm a little worried about Matt Campbell. Many ways. Yeah.
Don't you guys think there's a difference? I always say this, like, if you're a Kirby Smart or a Nick Saban back in the day, like, being able to manage and coach hard a roster of 5-star and 4-star guys is, I think, a whole different animal than like what you mentioned at being at Iowa State. Like, or even what Kyle Whittingham has done at Utah. You're going to take 3-star, even Indiana. Like, you're going to take a bunch of guys that not those big schools didn't all want, and we're going to turn them into a football team. That's a certain style of coaching. I'm going to get the most out of my guys, as opposed to managing those elite athletes, and with much bigger paychecks. Right? With to me, you're right. So when you think about Matt Campbell, he's moving into a different world.
Exactly.
Yes. I thought that way about Chris Peterson, right? My most kind of direct parallel. Boise State, you're giving kids a chance to play college football.
Yeah.
Washington, these kids are going to go. They're going to play college football no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You got to convince them to come and play for you. And then you got to manage like your Asa Turners. You got to manage those guys. And so for Matt Campbell, he's gone from giving a kid a chance to play college football at Iowa State,
right,
to now going to Penn State, where if you go play football at Penn State, you expect that you're going to play college football somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It might be Ohio State. Now you're swinging, like when Peterson went to Washington, he was fighting against Notre Dame, USC, UCLA, Oregon. That's way different than telling some kid, hey, man, you get a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to play football. Penn State's going to be fighting against Ohio State. They're going to be fighting against Michigan. They're going to be fighting against those schools. In
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. And by the way, Franklin at Virginia Tech, I think that's going to be a problem for the ACC in the next few years because.
Agreed. Next year, bro. Next year.
Yeah.
Because people don't remember this, but Franklin was supposed to be the coach, the next head coach at Maryland when Ralph Friedgen retired. If Friedgen believes in you, I'm going to believe in you. Friedgen, to me, is the best sequential play caller that we've seen. And that dude, so Franklin's been recruiting from Maryland, recruiting the state of Maryland, New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, and up and down Virginia. So he's already there. He already knows those kids. He recruited a lot of those kids to Penn State. And now he gets to do it closer to home for those kids. And I don't know, man. But to go back to Matt Campbell, you're going to be in a blender, dude. It's a different world when you walk in that building. And, Roddy, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you said it's expensive with respect to the portal, when I think about expensive, how expensive it is to get kids to get to Penn State, just to see it.
Very hard.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I went there for the first time. It's not easy to get to. You're right. Even Coach Franklin talked about it's not easy to fly out of there either, right? Like everything's
They don't
complicated.
have And one of the things he mentioned. One of the things that he mentioned at his Virginia Tech press conference was we've got an airport on campus, and it's not the airport you and I fly into.
No, you're right.
It's the airport the coaches fly out of.
Like you have an airport.
You mentioned, hey Roddy, you know what's more expensive? Is and there's a lot of teams that know this. Using the transfer portal to bring in players that stink, that you reach on, and there's like I watched it this year. You bring in a bunch of guys and you know they're getting paid and you're only winning 3 or 4 games. I mean, that hurts worse. But I want to go back to Chris Peterson. I guarantee you if he came out of said, I'm off the desk, I don't want to be I want to go coach again, he would be a very hot commodity because that guy could coach, and I thought he was successful at Washington. Chris Kleiman's an interesting story because he did nothing but win at North Dakota, right? And he gets to Kansas State, which is not Penn State.
Sure.
But Kansas State still has a tradition of being a pretty darn good football program. And this new era that we're living in, I feel like that retirement was like, here's a guy going, I just don't think I can do this anymore. And and obviously they didn't have the year they wanted to have, kind of from Ireland on, it just didn't work out. But you talk about it, he moved up to another level. Right. I love Chris Kleiman as a coach. I really did.
Sure.
But they never really he didn't really live up to expectations. And I'm not saying he's not a good coach.
No. I mean, they didn't win a conference championship while he was at Ohio State.
Nope.
And they had some teams that were favored too. That's my point sort of on graded, like we're grading him on a curve.
Right.
It's a guy that hadn't won a conference championship. Yep. So, if that continues at Penn State, he ain't going to be there long. Although it was like an 8-year deal, so he's going to be there for a while. But
I mean,
I think in the long term, I think you should be cautiously optimistic. But the thing is, he is as sure a thing as anybody you could have gotten.
Right. Who else? That's what I meant. They kind of backed into a really good hire.
Right. Who else was going to top his resume?
Wayne, you let
people are hiring people that got fired. I mean, that's like. This is what's so crazy about this year. Yeah. It's like we're taking people that are getting fired and we're acting like, oh my gosh, look at what we just added.
Other than James Franklin, like all of them got fired for decent reasons. James Franklin got fired because of like a.
Don't you think there was more going on behind the scenes though, like a power struggle or something? There had to be more.
Probably.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I agree, Roddy. I agree with you about the grading on a curve thing. Like it's like when your kid brings home like pretty shitty art, but you have to say that it's good because it's your kid. And it's like
on a curve.
Yeah, that's the curve.
It's honestly how we judge the group of 5. Like we let Tulane and James Madison in because we graded on a curve. Why are they ranked in the top 25? They played 2 teams with winning records. They beat 2 teams with winning records, and we're letting them in the playoff. Grading on a curve.
This aggression will not stand.
I'd rather see Tennessee in there.
Stop with Tennessee. Stop with Tennessee. They don't even run their own state. Don't just miss me with the Tennessee stuff.
Hey, real quick, by the way. Yes, stop it. By the way, as a teacher, please stop. Let's talk about like one of the things how about Vandy and Clark Lee and the way he handled.
Great job.
We should have won. He said he said what you're upset about because they're a 10-2 team from the SEC, and most people are like, you're a 10-2 team from the SEC. You should be more in the conversation. It feels like Vandy was kind of like not because there were other big names in front of them. Clark Lee flat out said we had opportunities, I believe, against Texas and Alabama, and we didn't win.
Boom.
We got to win those games. I love that. Like
that's the type of hard coaching that you were talking about.
He's like, listen, we need to win those games. If we want to make it, it's our own fault. We didn't take advantage of the opportunity. I'm like, that was refreshing to me.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not a Heisman voter. Wayne, I believe you're the only member of this show who is, correct?
Okay. Yep.
Roddy, they haven't given you a vote yet. Felder, you don't.
No, I don't really.
Roddy just has to ask. I mean, but by the way, Roddy, it's an honor. I do like voting, but like,
yeah.
But at the same time, you guys are probably going to disagree with this. But as a teacher, when Fernando Mendoza's interview after the game, I'm like, that is my favorite kid. Yeah. He was totally geeked out on. I love this. He was, even when you listen to his voice, it cracks. Like he's going through puberty, and he's so excited about his teammates. And I'm like, what Cignetti has done with that team and the type of kids that Mendoza to me was just like, that's perfect. I have had students like that.
Yeah.
That actually just the joy of being there. He's like this nerd that loves football and happens to be really good at it too. And remember, he lost Amari Cooper, who's one of the best receivers in the country, early in that game, and still did enough. Not to mention that Becker's pretty good and probably doesn't get talked about enough as that number 80 for them is solid.
No,
but I just loved that. Just like I did when I fell in love with Marcus Freeman and some of the interviews that he did. Right. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. There's something about.
Did you ever think he would opt out of a bowl game?
No, God, and I got to be honest with you, it's a bad look.
Hang on, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. I just want to go back to Mendoza. Mendoza said something that to me was super important. It was earlier in the season, and they asked him about, because he got hit a bunch in, I think it was the Ohio State game. Not Ohio State. The what's the game he won on the last the Penn State game?
Oh yeah, the Amari Cooper. Touchdown.
He got hit a lot. And they
asked him of the year.
Amari Cooper.
They asked him about getting up after the play. He goes, he literally goes, Mendoza said something that I wish more quarterbacks would say. He acknowledged like quarterback privilege, essentially. He goes, every day I see what my teammates go through. Yeah. I don't go through that. So when I get hit at one time in a game, it's on me to get up because those guys get hit every single play. Yeah. And I was like, thank you. Sure. Thank you for acknowledging that.
I agree. Now, Justin Herbert's doing the same thing with the Chargers right now.
Broken left hand, still playing football.
He's doing the same thing, and he's doing it because he believes the same thing you just said. He said, like, I got to show up. I got to play.
Now,
everybody else playing hurt. I got to do it too.
I know we got to get out. I know we have to get out of here in what, 5 Hartzell?
I got to take these boys to school.
I know. So I want to just, can we, like, I think the bowl opt-out thing, truthfully, I think that this whole idea about the sanctity of sport, I think that's total bullshit, honestly. Like, I don't care about that at all. Like, I truly don't give a crap. I think you're missing out on the bonus practices, which you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I've never heard a coach say we're good enough right now. We don't need more practice. Yeah, never heard a coach say that. Yeah. And not taking the extra practices, that feels like you're saying, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't like that. It's an I don't want to work thing. And that's what bothers me about it. Not the whole like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And then I also, I had one bowl experience, but let me tell you something. When we took that team bus to the strip club, that is a bowl experience.
Bowl games used to be a different animal.
Yep. You are robbing your boys of that. What's up, Roddy?
Team bus dropped you off at the strip club?
We had team dinner at this like Dave and Buster's place. They let us play video games.
They serve food there too, Roddy. They serve food there too.
And then the bus was going on the way back to the hotel. The Uptown Cabaret is right there. Our team leaders did a really good job of telling the bus driver, "Hey man, why don't you just kind of pull over here?" And we got out. Bang. Let's go.
Right into the
bowl games used to be a different animal. Awesome. They used to be a different animal.
Right. And that's the thing.
I ended up I sampled establishments at every bowl stop that we went to. Miami, Shreveport, El Paso.
El Paso,
Boise,
El Paso.
A smattering.
I know why
did you have a little bit of fun in El Paso? Oh my God!
A sampler platter, if you will.
We did that bowl game.
Team bus never dropped us.
All right, man. We had some really good team captains.
So listen. First of all, before we start talking more about bowl games and strip clubs, we could we'd do a whole show on that. But I will say this too: bowl games.
I'll never forget.
I hate to admit this. Bowl games are ridiculous. They've actually they've lost.
It's sad, man.
It's sad what's happened. That's why expansion of the playoffs, play-in games. There's opportunities to have meaningful games that players will play in. The opt-outs, but you would like to think that Notre Dame was going to be in an elite bowl, but when those start feeling like they're not, then we've completely lost our way. So we need to revision this. And I'll ask one more question. Do you think Mark? Because I'm struggling with the fact that Coach Freeman is the one saying we're not playing. I feel like this is almost coming above him. I wonder if there was an argument between him and the AD. Like, listen, We want to, but they're
you
also
let us out. We're not going to help the rest of your other shows. We're gonna take a step back. So
Yeah.
all right,
know.
guys, this has been awesome. I can see it in Steven's eyes. I can feel the stress that he's feeling right now.
Ain't no stress. I mean, these kids just got to go to school. It's a 2-hour delay because I don't know, because it was 20 degrees this morning. I saw zero ice. Zero.
We had no ice either. We had no ice.
Bro, these kids are soft. I'm just gonna say it. These kids are soft.
You can check me out on itsfelder.substack.com. Obviously, college
only ice
out.
I saw was the ice on my wrist.
Nice.
Okay, Shadur.
Yeah, very nice. This was fun. Let's do it again. I do want to break down these games. These first round games coming up on the 19th and 20th.
You're the one. You're the one who's in charge of letting us. We asked to do it every week, Stephen.
Yeah,
we'll
we want
reassemble.
to team up all the time.
I'll take a look at my hot yoga schedule. I'll take a look at my hot yoga schedule, and I'll find a time for it to squeeze it in. Okay?
Yeah, which will mean I'm waking up at 4 or something.
Wayne,
I got
listen.
it. Yeah, this West Coast stuff.
You're about to be face to face with a very attractive man who has been tasked to save the UCLA football program.
Do it at night.
Nighttime Felder hits different. I don't know if we can do that. I'll be honest.
Next one's at night, baby.
I don't know if we can do a primetime show because Felder's going to be faded.
No.
We'll figure it out. We'll huddle up. We'll figure it out. Wayne, enjoy meeting the chosen one today, okay? Be nice to him.
Can't wait.
All right?
Yeah, can't wait.
Thank you guys for joining us. We will talk to you very soon.